Hello, my favorite girls caregiver corner podcast family. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode 5 of season 3. And before I go any further, I ask you to take a moment now, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on whichever platform you are listening. Then go ahead and share it with your family and friends, especially those you may know who are serving as caregivers. This week, I have the pleasure of having a conversation with the president and CEO of Elder Care Services Incorporated, Mrs. Josie Fliger. Josie's a graduate of Tulane University in New Orleans with a BA in sociology and women's studies. She received her Master of Social Work degree from Florida State University. So quick, I want to say go Seminoles. But Florida State University with a certificate in gerontology. In 2012, Jocelyne found her home at Elder Care Services in Leon County, Leon County's leading aging services nonprofit, where the mission is to improve the quality of life for seniors and their caregivers by providing support for independent living. At Elder Care, Jocelyne managed 3 federal programs working to engage active seniors in meaningful volunteer service before becoming CEO and president at the beginning of 2020. In 2020, Elder Care Services served 147,977 meals to seniors facing food insecurity. That was an increase of 27,000 meals over the previous year. They also made 14,000 telephone reassurance calls to socially isolated seniors, took on 439 new Meals on Wheels clients, and distributed 1,623 bags of food, an increase of 476 from 2019. And they provided 26,000 hours of in-home care. Jocelyne started a community garden at Elder Care, which provides fresh produce to senior clients and an LGBT plus senior support group. Today, we're talking Elder Care Services, community-based, compassionate care for seniors. Josie, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the My Favorite Girl Caregivers Corner podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And for those of you that have been listening since the first episode in this season, what we are doing is providing resources to those in our community as well as those abroad, wherever you're listening from. But today specifically, this is for those in Leon County. We want to talk about our elder care services and what that program offers to those right here in our community. So, Josie, I'm going to give you an opportunity to just tell us a little bit. You've been now the president and CEO for the past going on 3 years now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so you've started there and been doing some wonderful things. And so if you can, just tell us a little bit about Elder Care Services and what you all provide.
My pleasure. Thank you. So Elder Care Services has been serving Leon County seniors for over 50 years. And our mission is to help people age in the comfort of their homes. So age in place is what the terminology is. And we do that through a variety of different programs. We're best known for our flagship program, our first program that was started in 1972, which is Meals on Wheels. And we provide food to seniors in their homes through that program, a hot, fresh meal Monday through Friday. But beyond the nutritional aspect of it, we're also addressing social isolation. And so our volunteers, they're not, just flinging trays at people's doors like the newspaper boy. They're actually checking in on those clients. And so we have folks that do get subsidized meals from the state, but then we also have people that private pay, which I think that really shows the value of that program. Mm-hmm. We have a multitude of other programs that work to do the same sorts of things. We are providing in-home care. We do that through our certified nursing assistant staff and our amazing case management staff. we're also doing counseling in people's homes. So we have a counselor that can go in and provide mental health support to caregivers, to clients. We are the only people doing that with a focus on gerontological counseling. And we have an adult day center, Elder Day Stay.
Yes.
One of my favorite places. I interned there when I was pursuing my master's degree, but it's really addressing the sandwich generation, which are possibly people my age or, a little bit younger or older that are raising their own children, but then maybe have a parent that needs some help during the day. So we have folks that do have cognitive impairments like dementia, but also might be a fall risk from epilepsy or Parkinson's. And they come to our facility. They are provided a hot breakfast, a hot lunch, snacks. They do so many fun things, art therapy, seated exercise. We even have TMH's animal therapy come in. They had a dog that looked like a stuffed animal in there last week. It made the group chat for sure. And we were all just so excited to see that client having a good time with the dog. We also want to be the definitive source for information.
Yes.
This is a path that people are often unfamiliar with until they get into the heart of caregiving, right? And it can be very disorienting. It can be very confusing. And so as a nonprofit, we are looking to be that, source of information and care. And that if we're not able to directly provide services for someone that's enduring, you have fantastic relationships with a multitude of agencies, for-profit and nonprofit in town that we can point people to help, bridge that transition into being a caregiver. So we really do a lot of things. I advocate nationally for a lot of our programs, including the senior volunteer programs.
Yes.
I know we want to talk about that. We have all 3 AmeriCorps seniors programs. So volunteering opportunities for people 55 and older. Some of those opportunities come with a small stipend attached to it. So it is a way to have a bit of extra income if you are interested in that. And it really is amazing because it provides such purpose to our volunteers. They see the difference they're making in their community, and they're getting out of their house. Again, all of our programs are doing 2 things, 2 tenets of care is what I like to say: help people age in their homes, but combat social isolation. Every single program we have does that. And so our volunteer group is mighty, hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, seniors that are making differences in their community. And that's the department I came from before becoming CEO. I get so jazzed about that program. It's just a win-win-win for everybody. So
yes.
Yeah.
And so with the Meals on Wheels, if someone is interested on Meals on Wheels, what must they do in order to do this? Is there a qualification? Is there a vetting process? How does that work if I wanted to? And you talked about the sandwich generation. That's where I fall. So I'm a full-time caregiver for my mom who has Alzheimer's, dementia, and I have a 17-year-old senior in high school. So it's been 7 years for us caring for her. And so I fall right there in that range. So, even when it comes to Meals on Wheels, how do I qualify for someone who is, whether they're aging, they're the caregiver who just doesn't have that time to always, or feel like, let me say that, have the time, or even feel like, I know that's been my issue over the last couple of weeks. I don't mind cooking. I like to cook, but I just have not felt like cooking a whole lot. So we've been eating out more over the last couple of weeks because I'm just a little bit exhausted. So what are the qualifications, stipulations for Meals on Wheels?
That's a great question and you hit right on it that it's not only addressing senior nutrition, right? Like we know that as we get older, sometimes it's hard to get all the nutritional standards that we need. So all of the meals are vetted by a dietitian. They're created Monday through Friday, hot and fresh in our kitchen. We have an industrial kitchen. And then they go out with the volunteers that just go all over town. And so we do have folks that are able to pay for that on their own. It is currently $6 a meal. And if you're able to private pay, we are able to set you up almost automatically. I hate that that's where we are at in nonprofit world. But the costs that come back to the agency, we're able to fit people in if they're able to private pay. Now, most of our clients are subsidized through the state. So there's a federal legislation that happened in the 60s that put aside money specifically for this program. The state of Florida also assists in making this program available for seniors that wouldn't be able to afford it. And there is an intake process. It is managed by the state. It's a number that even if someone is listening to this in another part of Florida, that they can access these services through the Elder Helpline, because the Elder Helpline is the Department of Elder Affairs phone number all across the state. And I'll give it to you. And for the listeners, it's 1-800-963-5337. And if I'm not mistaken, that translates to 1-800-96-ELDER. And so at the Elder Helpline, there is an intake form. And these programs are not a first come, first served. It's really looking at who is the most critically in need. So if we find that there is someone that is on the verge of being placed into assisted living, right, that's going to bump them to the top of the wait list. If we find that there's a caregiver in distress, oftentimes that, these are the type of metrics we're looking for to see where you fall on that wait list. And then as people are added to that wait list, we're able to take people off of them and start services. We are looking to expand our kitchen capacity in the next coming years, so that wait list can get even smaller.
Okay. So, all right. Again, if you're listening, Elder Helpline 800-963-5337. That's breakfast and lunch that you take out?
Right now, it's just lunch.
Just lunch.
And so they get like a hot tray of food, a protein, a vegetable, and a starch. And then we give we call it a cold box, but it has like a piece of fruit, milk or juice, a piece of bread. So oftentimes we see that it's like enough food usually for lunch and either, like a breakfast or a snack, something like that.
Okay. All right. So that service is available. Please take advantage of it. And as you just said, you don't have to just be here in Leon County. They can deliver Meals on Wheels throughout Leon County. And so, throughout the state of Florida. And so definitely take advantage of that. And then the other thing you just mentioned, AmeriCorps. And, AmeriCorps has been absolutely amazing. I love the volunteers. What I found is that I initially started with the AmeriCorps volunteer through the Alzheimer's Project. And now I am currently receiving that service through Big Bend Hospice. And these volunteers are some of the most selfless, just caring, and they're young people. I think that is the thing that I'm always amazed by when you have young people who don't mind volunteering. And so I've had some wonderful experiences. I've had 4 total. And out of the 4, there was only one that I was not pleased with. No, I've had 5. And out of them, it's only been one. But they are just a great group. I think most of them are collegiate students that have go through training. So these are not people that are just coming in who's saying, oh, I just want to volunteer, and they don't have the experience or the training that's needed. You all provide them with great training. I know the ones that I have coming, they've received training for Alzheimer's and dementia, and they have been just fabulous. And so, I have people asking, how do they receive volunteers? Because what happens is, 2-3 hours, it means a lot to have somebody come in and to relieve you. I have someone that comes just about every Saturday now, which has been such a relief to me. I have someone that comes on Saturday, someone comes on Sunday. The young lady that comes for me on Sunday, she is no longer under AmeriCorps, but she still wanted to volunteer. So she actually comes over still and still gives me the opportunity to be able to go out to attend church service. And so, that means so much when you're in caregiving full time and you just need to be able to get away. So, how can they sign up for the AmeriCorps program? And I mean, your volunteers, you said, are 55 and older.
Yes.
And so, how can they reach out if they need that type of assistance as well, whether it's a caregiver or whether it's just someone who's aging in place and just needs help?
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear about your experience. AmeriCorps is an amazing organization. I was invited by the CEO of AmeriCorps, Michael Smith, to attend a briefing at the White House last year, and it was really the highlight of of my year. Maybe, I don't know. It was really exciting, but I was the only person there representing older volunteers, and I thought that was really cool. These programs have been around for over 50 years. There's 3 specific programs that fall under the AmeriCorps Seniors umbrella. And so it's foster grandparents. And the name needs to probably change because it means people hear that and they think, oh, foster parenting, but it's not that at all.
Yeah.
It's folks 55 and older that go to a school or a daycare Monday through Friday, serving around 20 hours, sometimes more, of volunteer service. And they're able to sit and mentor and tutor children that have something that's keeping them from being on the same level as their peers. So that could be an incarcerated parent, a low-income household. We see more and more that, the teachers have more responsibility put onto them in our classrooms. And oftentimes they're not able to give that individual attention. Well, that's where our grandmas and grandpas come in, and they're able to do that. I love, when I do presentations about elder care, I always start out with this one photo. It's a volunteer of ours that at age 80 came to elder care and said, I'd love to do something in my community. And we said, please do. That's amazing. And she was a mentor and tutor in the Gadsden County schools for 20 years. And at age 100, we threw her a birthday party and a retirement party.
She started at 80 and she did it for 20 years?
She did for 20 years. And one of the sheriffs from Gadsden County attended that party because he was one of the children she had mentored and tutored. And so I love to just start every presentation because, age is something that oftentimes people look down on or they're scared of. People are out here doing amazing things no matter what age. So that's Grandma Gee all day. I love Grandma Gee. So that's one program. And in exchange, you're right, all of our volunteers get training. It's part of the requirements. But so they're tutored in, or they're trained in literacy for the children, how to work with children that might have behavioral issues, all that good stuff.
Okay.
We also have another program under AmeriCorps Seniors that is the Senior Companion Program. And this is one of my favorite because oftentimes it's a peer-to-peer program. It's, again, volunteers that are 55 and older that are providing care or companionship in the homes of other seniors. At our adult day center, we have amazing volunteers that go there every day. And besides being purposeful for the volunteers, it provides that respite that you touched on. I mean, there's something called second patient syndrome where people that are caregiving actually pass away before the person they're caregiving for. And I think it just speaks to how it's very stressful to caregive for another adult, right?
Yes.
Like with children, oftentimes we can, we have babysitting, apps or preschools, daycares. There's not these resources available for older adults. And then throw on top of it, if there is like a cognitive issue, a dementia, a physicality limitation, then it makes it even more difficult. So sometimes we see that the volunteers are getting just as much out of it as the clients are getting. So, and then the third one under the AmeriCorps Seniors umbrella, it does not receive a stipend. It's RSVP, or Retired and Senior Volunteer Program. These are our Meals on Wheels drivers, our community garden volunteers. We have docents at museums. They just provide amazing support to other seniors locally, but also, making a difference in their community as well.
Okay. And I love the fact that you said that there are older people out here doing some amazing things. Just last week, my podcast was on aging and amazing. And so 80 years old, volunteering. And the thing about it is what people don't realize is a lot of that it adds life to you. It gives you so much life to just be able to be out there doing something for somebody else. And so those extra 20 years, I'm sure the children that she assisted and helped probably gave her even more life to do what she's doing,
Right.
and so that's great. So if I were 55 and wanted to volunteer, what is the intake process for that?
We have a fantastic volunteer department. And so you can just call us at Elder Care, which is 850-921-5554. And they'll do intake. We do screenings. We do pre-service orientations. We do on the job orientation trainings, all that good stuff. So just calling our main number in Tallahassee and being connected to our volunteer department, that's the easy part. I'm such a data nerd. I love looking at studies and things like that. And AmeriCorps, the parent company in a corporation, the Corporation for National Community Service, which is the largest grant making entity in the US for volunteerism. They did these fantastic studies on senior volunteers just a handful of years ago. Mm-hmm. And there was definite scientific data information that said that seniors that volunteer and provide care to others actually live longer than those that do not. And so I do think it is like going back to maybe seeing a bigger picture than yourself, feeling purposeful, feeling like you're giving back and doing something meaningful that really resonates in our cells and keeps us going for a lot longer than if we didn't. So I can't say enough about how these volunteer programs not only serve the children and the other seniors in our area, but really provide an amazing experience for the people that are enrolled in them as well.
Yes. And being able to, now the ones that are driving, they're a part of the 55 and older as well. All of them are 55 and older.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Such an important program, and that was my fault for kind of glossing over it. We have a transportation program called Seniors Transporting At-Risk Seniors. It's the acronym is STARS. And yes, it's senior volunteers that can pick up other seniors that either are no longer able to drive, that are not wanting to drive, and they can take them to the grocery store, to the doctor's office. Locally, we have something called Star Metro that can pick up seniors and do these things, but there is a small fee for it. It's $2.50 a ride, one-way ride. And for $5 round trip, to you and me, that might not be very impactful in our budget. We have many seniors that rely only on Social Security. Right. Mostly they're women, right? So if we think about women that were coming up, they were not expected back in their time to attend college or get a job outside the home, or sometimes even finish high school. In our area, a lot of the rural areas that we serve, that it was not anticipated. And so they are now just relying on Social Security. So if we add up all these $5 trips, that can be pretty impactful. Yeah. So this is where I love our transportation program. The only caveat here is they need to give us as much lead time as possible so we can arrange to have a volunteer. But it really is, again, like a win-win. It's somebody laying eyes on that senior that can kind of report back to us if there's any additional needs. Yes. They're picking them up right at their doorstep, helping them with the groceries inside, taking them to the doctor's office, all that good stuff.
Okay. Now, is there for those who may become a part or interested in these programs, is there a time frame? So when I say time frame, I'm sorry, when they get on the program, is there say you can only be on it for a year, or how long does the program last once you sign up for it?
No, like we would love to have folks as a client long term. We've had people involved with our agency for numerous years, and that it's a privilege to serve them for that long. So, yeah, there is no time limit.
All right. So that sounds good. So listen, if you're listening, you have a parent or someone that you're concerned about who may need these services, again, we're going to tell you reach out to Elder Care Services. Give a call 850-921-5554. Complete the intake with the volunteer program, and let's get your seniors some assistance that they need. Now, if I wanted to donate, I know you all are nonprofit. And so I'm sure that, most nonprofits, it's exactly that. You're not doing it for profit. And so if I wanted to donate, or if somebody wanted to donate to Elder Care Services, because I think this is a phenomenal program, anything that focuses on seniors, and I'm learning that more and more every day. My mom will be 81 this year. And, she's been living with dementia now for almost 7, going on 8 years for that. And, I'm learning even the more just how important being there and just being able to care for our seniors really is. So anytime I meet anybody who is really passionate about serving our seniors, it always does my heart good. And so, there are others out there as well who, appreciate that. And so as a nonprofit, are there ways for me to donate to the services that you all are providing that are definitely helping those in our community and Meals on Wheels throughout the state of Florida? So how can one donate to Elder Care Services?
Oh, thank you for this. We are always appreciative of our community support. One of the great things about our agency is that all of our individual programs, they could really stand alone and be their own nonprofit, right? Like we have 65 people that work for us. We serve thousands of seniors. And so, but the fact that we're all under the same umbrella agency, we're able to share our fiscal department, our communications department, our facility. It really is, we are very determined to be good stewards of the state's money, of the community's money. And so we utilize, this kind of like beautiful synergy between our departments. But our website is a great place for people to start if they're looking for either more information, or if they're looking to give us or provide a financial donation. And that's eldercarebigben.org.
Okay, so they can go on there, give donation. I know I have seen, especially over the holidays, I've seen, different ones, or I think last year during the wintertime we're in winter now, earlier in the season, they were looking for like heaters and different things like that for our elders, because, like you said, a lot of them are living off of Social Security. And Social Security is not a whole lot of money, especially in the times that we're living in. Grocery inflation is really what it is. When somebody posted on Facebook yesterday, I saw where Oreo cookies were like $7.69. It's crazy. Eggs are, $7, $8. That's a lot for a senior who, average is only receiving about $784 or $884 a month. That's not a lot when you look at electric bills and different things that they have to pay for. And unfortunately, a lot of our seniors, they don't have family sometimes who can pitch in and help or who are there. And so, I've seen various things. And so, I guess my question as well is, what would be one of the greatest needs for, you've dealt with a lot of seniors here in our community and in our area. What is one of the greatest needs that you find that seniors have?
That's such a good question because it's so multifaceted. And I have said this message many times. So you and I are right on the same page that many of our seniors, yeah, they're receiving $800 a month. And I don't know how you exist on $800 a month. So anytime we're able to provide something for our senior community that can help them put money back in their pockets or be able to direct money elsewhere, that is what we're looking to do. So we have a lot of, I'd call them sub programs, smaller programs. We have a food pantry where seniors can get a bag of groceries that should last them for at least 3 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They can
Okay.
get that from us once a month. We
Okay.
do provide heaters because as we age, the fat under our skin degrades. And so we are now more susceptible to heat and cold, right? And so when it gets very cold, I know that I can go to my thermostat and bump it up, right? And make it warmer. And I know I'm going to get a bigger bill, but I'm so fortunate to be able that I can shoulder that maybe that larger bill. If
Mm-hmm.
you're living on $800 a month, you're going to really think twice before you're, turning your thermostat up. We've also seen seniors heating their homes with their ovens.
Wow.
So the personal space heaters that we have donated to us and then go back out. The fans the same way when it's hot. It seems like a very small intervention, but it can really be impactful and make your home more comfortable so you can stay in your home for a longer amount of time happily. There is always tremendous need, and it's kind of cyclical. Like we'll see things happen, in real time. Like during the pandemic, we saw a need for more masks because
Mm-hmm.
seniors were so much more gravely affected by the effects of this virus. And so we pivoted and got masks and face shields. And we see food as often, where we can plug in and make a big impact. So senior nutrition, social isolation, that's a huge issue as
Yes.
well. When the pandemic first started, somebody asked me, what can we do to help elder care? And I said, we're going to do all that we can, but I can't reach every single senior in this county. I
Yeah.
need people to check in on your senior neighbors, check in on your senior relatives, your friends, even if it's just a phone call or an email or, pop by and see how they're doing. It's the social isolation is the thing that really wreaks havoc on our mental health, but then
Yeah.
it goes to our physical health as well.
Yep.
It's really bad for both aspects. In fact, there was a study that said social isolation is as bad for your physical health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Oh,
And so,
wow.
yes. And so if we can really get in front of that and just make it, I want to normalize aging. I want people to not be afraid of how our body changes. I mean, your body changes your whole life.
That's right.
We have
That's
to
right.
normalize some of these things. But also, normalize reaching out and being aware that you might have socially isolated neighbors and friends and family members and your phone call does make a difference to them.
It does. It does. And I'm just gonna throw this plug in there again. Go back and listen to episode 4 where we did talk about aging and amazing, because the fact is, as you get older, sometimes people just feel like I'm older, there's nothing more I can do. And there's a whole lot, I'm going to be stuck on this 80-year-old volunteering for 20 years for a long time, but that just goes to show you that there's a lot out there that you can do that will help you to, not necessarily have to isolate. And I do know that there are some people that, they end up isolating as well, or being isolated because of sickness and different things that come upon the body as you age. And so I do think that that's very important that we do take a moment to check in on those people who are older, I mean, because they may not be able, it's okay if you're going to the grocery store, pick up something. And that's my challenge, right? as this podcast host, as a caregiver, as just somebody who cares about everybody, but especially our aging population, I'm going to put this challenge out there to everybody, whether in Tallahassee, but especially those that are here. And I'm going to give you the address for Elder Care Services. It is 2518 West Tennessee Street, Tallahassee, Florida, 32304. Call 850-921-5554 if you forget it. But my challenge to everybody, especially as we go into the different seasons, as it starts to get hot, if you see a little fan, pick it up, drop it by. You'll be surprised what one small fan, the difference it can make. You don't have to pick up one every time you go, but if everybody listening to this podcast and everybody, shares it with somebody else, and everybody picks up a fan, or everybody picks up a small heater, or everybody picks up, you buy canned goods, buy an extra one and drop it by. How many seniors can we impact if we think? And I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand our world is in a different space, and everything is going up. But if you have the ability to, and you can, let's do our part to also help. Now I look at fans differently. You're giving away grocery. I mean, because it's nothing to really, I'm not going to say nothing, because for some people it is, but if you have that ability and you can do the extra, it all adds up. If you're going to the grocery store 2 or 3 times a week, like I tend to do sometimes, and you pick up, a canned good, you can pick up one canned good. By the end of the month, it adds up. And the thing about it is, what people don't realize sometimes, I think, Josie, is that, I can do a little bit, you can do a little bit. And when everybody's little bit comes together, it becomes a lot. And so I think we have to look at it like that. Never underestimate your one canned good, because if it's connected to somebody else's, we can feed a whole lot of people. And seniors are always going to have a soft spot in my heart. I'm just a believer that, especially when it comes to like my mom, I also care for my grandmother, and I'm really big on returning. My whole everything is Love in Reverse. That's a book that I'm working on. Love in Reverse, because what they did for me as they have aged, my grandmother, passed away a year ago, but I never forgot the sacrifices that she made, the sacrifice that my mom has made. And so I call it Love in Reverse. I'm just giving back what they gave to me. And so that's my challenge for everybody, is to think about that senior. You'll be surprised as well just what you're given will do. I'm a very strong believer in my faith, and I believe in giving. I believe in God, I believe in giving, and I've never not had. How about that? And because I give. And so, sometimes people think, no, I can't, because if I give, I'm not going to have. But you will be surprised at how much you'll end up having more of when you just simply give. And so that's just my challenge to everybody. Take a look at this. Go to the website, www.ecsbigbend.org. Check out their website. Look at the program. See how you can get it. If you're 55 and older, looking for something to do. Sometimes people retire and they have nothing to do. And it's crazy how sometimes they retire, and because they have nothing to do, they seem to, unfortunately, a lot of people die quickly, because I think they stop working, they stop living, and this is a way for you to continue to, have something to do. Some have grandkids, some don't. Go out there and read to the babies. They need it.
Yes.
Yeah, however you can help, but get involved. Now, I understand as well that there are some community events that you all host and have. And so what do you have coming up next that we can all maybe take part in, or see how we can involve another senior.
Yeah, thank you. We have so many different groups and support systems for folks that are involved with our agency. You mentioned the LGBT plus support group. This is a community that still faces a lot of discrimination as
Mhm.
we are older adults, and we're providing a safe space for them to do, supportive group type counseling, but also make connections, and a place where they can be authentically themselves and be safe within those walls. So we have that. We also do a caregiver support group for
Okay.
folks that are caregiving for individuals with Parkinson's. We had a opportunity to assume a lot of the Parkinson's Outreach Association's programming, including their choir. The power of
All
music
right.
is just amazing for
Yeah.
people with dementia.
Yeah.
This, and so there's a choir that we do, the caregiver support group. I'm trying to think what else. We have our annual fundraiser in October. The football schedule came out, so I think we've nailed down our date, but we, for over 20 years, have done a Oktoberfest celebration.
Okay.
We make our own food. We make our own German food because we have our kitchen. We have the support of all the breweries in town, which is just amazing. And
Yeah.
the last couple of years, we've had it at Cascades Park. It's just been glorious weather. Just come out and eat and listen to music and enjoy local beers if that's your thing. So we do some fun fundraising activities that way. That's our main fundraiser. So we're always doing, different smaller kind of impactful community events, and then our larger one as well. And we do try to keep them all updated on our website as well.
Okay. All right. So visit the website, get that information, take part. You know a senior, drive them over and let them have a day with you. Get them out the house. We're a little bit safer than we were 2 years ago, so it's okay to kind of bring them out. I don't take my mom out as much because she still won't wear a mask, and I still am very hesitant about her going out and being around a whole lot of people. But if they can go out, take them out, and take them for a ride. I just think that we just have to love on our elders a whole lot more than I realize we really do. Now I want to go back a little bit before we close out, and you mentioned the the
Mhm.
day program, and so you know for elders who may be looking for somewhere to go, some activities, some fun. If you don't have the volunteers coming in, maybe I want to go out, or those caregivers who need that extra respite time. How can they also sign up for, or take their loved ones or a senior, get involved with the Elder Day program?
Yes, that is a great question. So our Elder Day stay is in the Lake Ella Shopping Plaza. We are the only adult daycare in town. And we do have a small waiting list. We are trying to reopen to pre-COVID numbers. And so we
Okay.
are working through that wait list to get people enrolled, to get them, in as enrolled as a participant in the program. But if you just want to check it out and bring your loved one over there and see if that's even something that they would entertain, it really is a great resource for the community. We encourage them to go Monday through Friday. The consistency part is very key in their success in the program. And I'll share a success story with you if that's okay. But
Absolutely.
I had a gentleman call me. I miss the direct client care. I am a social worker by nature, and oftentimes I don't, unfortunately, get to see all the clients like I would like. But I had a gentleman call me, and his mother-in-law had been attending day stay. And there's these old tropes about son-in-laws and mother-in-laws really butting heads. And so I was like, oh, how is this call going to go? But he said that since she's been attending, that she has reblossomed into the woman that he came to really admire and love when he first started
Wow.
dating her daughter.
Oh,
And
wow.
her wit is back. She is happy. everything just in her realm is going so much better. And it's because she is getting that daily stimulation, that mental stimulation. And he said that he cried about it. I just thought that was so wonderful and kind. And
Yes.
the fact, and such a testament to that these programs work. We're not just doing these programs out of the goodness of our heart, just like point blank. There's a lot of evidence-based reasoning for us doing what we do in the manner that we do. We have so many social workers that work for us that have master's degrees, that are licensed clinical social workers. We have certified nursing assistants that work in many of our different departments. We have people that have been in the food industry for decades and decades that work for us in our kitchen. So we really have the most amazing, phenomenal staff that is not only invested in their heart in making these programs successful, but they really use their education, their training, their experience to provide that type of care that's going to be impactful for people.
Yep. And it's all very important. And we see the work that you're doing in the community. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation, because a lot of people don't know what's out there. They don't know the resources that are available. And I think that this is one of the most important. And, you all are doing, to look at the numbers that I read earlier, 147,000. Now, was that just in Leon County, or was that throughout the state of Florida?
So we serve Leon County. We recently started serving for in-home services, Gadsden and Wakulla County. So that's our footprint right now. Our volunteer program footprint is a lot bigger. So that's actually 14 counties. So for volunteering, we're all the way over in Bay County in the west.
Okay.
We're all the way to Madison in the east. That was actually a perfect kind of like springboard for me to really get to know the people that are working in this network in our area. Because I collaborated when I was the director of volunteers with many of the folks that run the lead agencies in their counties. I now continue to work alongside them doing the same type of work. So it's really exciting. For food, though, for Meals on Wheels, we're only in Leon County.
Okay.
And, the food production program, to get it out into the county hot and fresh every single day, we want to just focus on Leon County. But that's not to say that there is not an agency providing these programs in other areas of Florida. So I know your reach is really long. There is an agency like Elder Care Services in every single county in our state. So if someone is looking for services, it might not be me, which is fine. But if they need care, that's why I love to always be vocal about that elder helpline number.
Yeah.
If there's somebody that really is looking for care, no matter what county, that's the way they can start getting services.
Yep. Okay. So, and if that's you and you're not here in Leon, again, that number is 800-963-5337. That's the elder helpline. So if you need help, don't sit home and suffer, or, here's your opportunity to find out where you can get it. And I'm going to have this information for elder care services on my website. So you can also visit the website at www.priscillajeanlouis.com. There is a resource spot. So go over there. You'll find Jocelyne's information, elder care services. And so we'll have a link there that'll take you directly to the website. But by all means, please, take advantage of these resources. Now, the telephone reassurance calls, that was calls that came in regarding elders in need. What was that? What is
so
the reassurance?
That's a great component of what we do. So we've had a telephone reassurance program for years and years, but it was a pretty small program, and it was just volunteers making weekly, maybe twice a week calls out to seniors in their homes. When the pandemic happened, though, we were able to take so many people off the waiting list for meals, but we went down to delivering meals once a week, a stack of frozen meals once a week. to seniors because we really wanted to limit the interaction between volunteer and client to try to minimize the risk of transmitting COVID, right?
Right.
So what we did to supplement, because we still want to make sure people aren't isolated, is that we really poured into our telephone reassurance and we just called people and checked in on them, sometimes daily, because we saw not only were people, suffering from social isolation, maybe through the traditional reasons, before the pandemic, after the pandemic, but when people were told to shelter in place, now we have folks that maybe were very active now having to stay at home for fear of, COVID transmission. So I was very proud that we were able to still, hang on to those clients, provide them the support that we could, and kind of pivoting our services during the pandemic. And then we've kept our telephone reassurance program up pretty high after the pandemic too. A lot of folks saw that, yeah, I do benefit from just having a conversation with
Yeah.
somebody every day, in the comfort of my home, somebody checking in on me.
And that's good because that helps to build relationship. I'm sure a lot of them, you call in every week and, then you have this for real grandparent, situation where that relationship is built. And I'm sure that they look forward to that phone call or calling the person. So all of these are absolutely wonderful services that are provided. I want to commend you and Elder Care Services for the work that you do in our community. I know that we are looking to do some partnerships through Kaylin's Care and Connection in the future. And so that's another challenge that I'm going to give as well before we close to other organizations. If you're looking for an organization to partner with, because sometimes, I know for Kaylin's Care and Connection, that's a part of what we do, try to help meet needs in our community. And so we partner with various organizations. And so we had already planned to connect with Elder Affairs this year. I mean, Elder Care Services this year. And so we will be talking more about that. So any other organizations that are out there, any sororities, fraternities, here's another great nonprofit service that you can partner with and help to bring in some of those things, the fans, the heaters, the food, whatever they have need of. Their information, we've given it to you. The website is there. So contact them and do what you can to help a senior. Thank you so much, Josie, for this opportunity. Elder Care Services, it's the community based, and I love what they said, compassionate care for seniors. You have to be compassionate to be able to do what you're doing, especially, just being selfless for others. That's a big thing, just being selfless and being able to say, hey, what can I do to help? And so definitely appreciate the services that you all give. Thank you for being a beacon of hope and light to our seniors here in our community and the surrounding areas. Thank you for this conversation. And so I'm going to give you just a few minutes before we get off. I know, what I found in just in speaking with you is the passion and the heart that you have for seniors. And so if you can give just a few words to others, just about senior care and just your passion out of your heart for it, I'll let you close us out with just some few words of, inspiration or what have you for someone else, as being one who works with seniors.
Well, thank you so much. I have so enjoyed this conversation with you and admire you for this podcast and getting the word out. This is my passion. I really feel that I have found what I'm supposed to be doing. And really thinking about, we're all aging and it shouldn't be something that we are fearful of. It shouldn't be something that we overlook others for. And there's so much that we can learn from people that are older than us. And it's very rewarding to be able to try to change kind of how we think about what it means to be an elder, what it means to be somebody that gives back in the community, what it means to be a friend to somebody that is older than yourself. And I just appreciate everybody that also works in this realm. And it's not easy sometimes, but it's definitely rewarding. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you again, you all. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in again next week to another episode of the My Favorite Girl Caregivers Corner podcast.